We're live.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning, everyone, whenever time you're catching this. Welcome to episode 9 of the MMAHOLIcs. I'm Antoine, and this is Nikki. Um, so today for episode 9, guys, we're going to do our UFC 297 review. It just took place, first pay-per-view of the year. A polarizing card, to say the least, especially with the results that took place, for the Canadians and all the Canadian fans that were in the crowd that night. Still a fairly decent card, if I say so myself. I thought it was, all right. Taken from what I took out of it, I gave the card about at the end, like I gave it about like a 7.5 out of 10. Like I thought the main event definitely like saved it, brought it home. And I like the Arnold Allen fight as well with Mobstar Evloev. But yeah, like what were some of your favorite results coming out of it before we dig into it, and how'd you feel about the card?
Yeah, I like the ranking. The 7.5 is a pretty fair statement for it. It definitely, had its ups and downs in the card. There were some underwhelming fights, a lot of decisions, I'm pretty sure. If I remember correctly, there's a good amount of decisions for the night. There's obviously some results that people weren't satisfied with, but that's every single event. There's always one fight that people don't like. Um, Yeah, I didn't mind it though. It was a cool card. Good way to start the year. Good little rivalry we had. So there's that.
Right, of course. And yeah, man, with that, we can definitely dig down from prelim to the tippy top. Just go ahead and scan what happened on the beginning of the card. Yeah, guys. So it was from the opening bell. It was hard for the Canadians. Jimmy Flick got the victory. It was great, man. He looked good. I was happy to see him bounce back. We saw the post fight. With everything he's gone through with his father. That's why he had retired the first time, and I was really happy to see him come back and really conquer. Like those fears of anxiety, those fears of failure, those fears of not achieving your dreams, and he did it in beautiful fashion, getting the comeback. Well, not really comeback. He was hurt definitely for a minute. But as Gordon put himself at a bad position, and right then the momentum shift occurred. He put himself in a dominant position, and he choked him out. Don't call it a comeback, like as LL Cool J says. But yeah, nah, it was a good performance for Jimmy Flick, man. I felt bad for Malcolm Gordon. I thought he was in a good position to win the fight. All you had to really do was just stay at a distance, man, and just keep striking, pick him apart. He could have took a unanimous decision, in my opinion. But yeah, congratulations to Jimmy Flick, man. He got the second round submission. It was fun to watch, to say the least. How'd you feel about it?
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. Like, I think there was a chance for Malcolm to win it early. It's just like he had to stay on the feet and he had to just strike it. And I noticed he just kept engaging in the ground game, and it's like that's exactly the way to let Jimmy Flick beat you, is just engage in it. So it's interesting. I might be wrong about this, but I thought I saw on Twitter that Malcolm Gordon retired. Was that true? I don't know.
They said it in the cage, like John Anik said it in the cage when he was taking the gloves off and stuff. But like the camera had panned away from him and stuff. So
Yeah.
like he didn't. I hope he.
That's tough if he does. Maybe it's just a retirement from the UFC and he
Yeah.
goes somewhere else to really develop his game. Because I mean, the flyweight's getting better and better. Like
Right.
you got to keep up with it.
Exactly. It's like how you said, it's really the evolution of the division, and yeah, and I was gonna say, like, I don't want him to retire. I do. I don't want to. I don't like seeing people, give up on their dreams, stuff like
Mhm.
that. But at least he made it to the UFC, though. He made it here. He won a fight. Some people go and get here, go 0-3, and get chewed up and spit out. And I get it. He definitely didn't have some of the best performances, but at least he can tell his kids when he got to fight. His home crowd, in front of his home crowd. Not many people ever get that opportunity to even make the walk that he did. Yeah. Yeah, man, congratulations to Jimmy Flick. And yeah, moving on to the second fight of the night. Yeah, man, decent card. Good one for Jasmine, man. She got the Dars. Got the Dars. Yeah, man, it was really, really good fight for her. Took her down. Priscilla was looking good at first, in the first couple minutes of the fight. She was tagging Jasmine. But then Jasmine, just takedowns, takedowns. Just really used her wrestling advantage, and eventually got her tired and got the submission. And yeah, how'd you feel about it?
So this fight I'm drawing a blank on right now. It was early. I remember I was watching football and UFC at the same time, so I had the fights on mute. I had the fights on mute, so there was a lot I couldn't even hear when I was paying attention to the football games. Mm-hmm. So I really don't have too much on this, but I do remember picking Jasmine to win this by decision, and she did get the submission. So then she did overachieve my estimation for the fight. I do remember that I was thinking Priscilla had the better striking, and I remember watching, and if I could recall, that Jasmine had the better striking in this fight. So that's one thing. That's one takeaway I do remember from this.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Again, it was a good performance for Jasmine at the home crowd. The ladies were the ones that showed out. For the homers, and I was happy for her. She's finally starting to put together. She's got it going now. Especially coming off the loss that she did. I believe she fought Tracy Cortez. At the Noche UFC. That was a close fight. But of course Tracy took it, and she got a bounce back victory here over Priscilla. And yeah, it was a good performance for her. I was happy for her. I want to see what Priscilla decides to do. Always entertaining fighter when she's out there. Just really has to work on her takedown defense. And I think she can still hurt a lot of girls on the feet. So, And yeah, man, it's crazy. Like I mentioned, hey, shout out to Sam Patterson. I picked Johan. A lot of people did. I know Sam Patterson's coming off the devastating knockout from Yanal Ashmuz. I think being at welterweight, that's giving him really a breath of fresh air. I really think it's going to pay dividends for him to move up to the to another weight division like that. I really didn't think those extra 15 pounds. Of course, that's just what he weighs. On the scale, he could weigh 175 in the cage, 178, stuff like that. So it's really good to see him be fully rehydrated and be his full self, be fully mentally aware, at his strongest, at his fastest, and it resulted in a beautiful transition to a beautiful submission, and yeah, man, just like that, it was over, and it sucked for Johan. He all his friends and family were probably there. It's Toronto, the capital, Canada, so yeah, it was super unfortunate. But yeah, good one for Sam Patterson, though. Like I said, to bounce back the way he did.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's nice to see these fighters switch divisions and be successful in it. It's a big risk going up in weight. Now you're fighting someone who's confident. And I remember we had a clean sweep on Johan. I'm pretty sure we all thought he was going to win. There was so much question about Sam Patterson, but yeah, got out and got that submission. It's apparently his 6th submission, right? So he had 5 before. He had 3 guillotine chokes. So that'll be his 6th submission. So we know he's a well-rounded fighter. And if he's going to be like this at welterweight, he could really make a remark, because welterweight is a very balanced division.
And he's big.
Yeah, and it's not just like a division where the top guys are strikers. You got Leon, who's a kickboxer. You got Bilal, who's a balanced fighter. And then you got Colby, who's a straight wrestler. Then you got the Shavkats, the dudes that are just pure balance. So Sam Patterson could really have a well-rounded fight style. Right. I mean, he could definitely move up in the welterweight division.
Right. Yeah, man. And again, I was happy for him to bounce back the way he did, man. He's, he got that big welterweight frame at 6'3". Of course we've seen 6'3" welterweights before, Ian Garris and Magnis, but they're still pretty good commodity at the moment. Leon himself, I think Leon, it's pretty funny in the video game. He's listed at 6 foot, but on his still the tape and stuff, Leon's listed at 6'2". Even when this Usman is 6 foot. When Usman and Leon were facing off, you could definitely see Leon looking down at Usman. So for sure, so it's good to have another tall welterweight added to the division.
Welterweights are getting taller, man. That is one
right.
thing.
Yeah.
One way from GSP, Tyron Woodley, Kamaru Usman. Now we got Shavkat, Sam Patterson, and Ian Gary.
Right. Exactly. And this is how we say with the evolution of flyweight, it's happening with welterweight as well. It already happened with light heavyweight, and because you don't see light heavyweights nowadays under 6'4". And Seriously, those dudes are like, it's crazy to think they're
Johnny
only
Walker's
shooting
6'6" with a
6'6".
wingspan. Like, Jesus Christ.
Right, all right, exactly. I was gonna say it's crazy to think like they're massive in the cage, but like in the NBA, they're like shooting guards and stuff. We used to have Stephen Struve, he was 7 foot. But still, it's tall guys are just getting taller and taller in MMA. It's pretty fun to see. But yeah, moving on to the next fight though. As we progress up the pay-per view. Beautiful submission for Jillian Robertson over Polyana Viana. I was really happy for her to get the win over to get the win in front of her, the home crowd like that. She looked good, man. She was in great shape. You could tell from the weigh-ins, she was really just taking this one serious in particular. I think she really wants to finally, just gain some momentum and really finally just like get that win streak going. She's still young. It's pretty crazy. Like she's like close to having like the most finishes in like women's history. She already has the most submissions in women's history. So if she were to able like to climb the ranks and like win a title, like Jillian Robinson would have carved out a Hall of Fame career for herself. And it's a good victory for her. And she actually got it done via TKO, and so it showed that, she's working on all facets, that ground and pound, the striking with the striking on the feet. She's still working on the striking on the feet. I feel like that was kind of apparent in the fight. I thought Polyana still had the striking advantage when they would exchange out in the open at a good striking distance. But, Jillian close distance, made it dirty. She, tried her best to get her to the ground. And that was another thing too. The takedowns, they came, fairly easily for Jillian. And I think Polyana definitely just has to work on that part of her game. And she'll be fairly decent. She'll have, the good sprawl, decent stand up. And I think she could beat a lot of girls with that skill set. But it was, again, it was a good performance for Jillian Robertson and the Savage. She finished her in the second and, kept it going for Canada. It was a good win for sure. How'd you feel?
So this fight really pissed me off because this is the fight I took either lady to win by submission. And anyone who saw that first round was 100% thinking that fight was going to end in a submission.
It's submission, yeah.
These girls were threatening subs at each other nonstop. It went from a Kimura to like, yo, put your leg over her head, and it's an arm bar right there, and she's not doing it. And then it gets to the second round, and then Polyana just goes down to elbows. It's like, it's like I think they don't care about my parlay. Of course, why should they? Man, you survived all those submissions just to get elbowed to death in the second round. Just it hurts, man. It hurts me. But good fight. I really thought it was going to, besides my parlay, I really thought that was going to end in a submission. The girls were grappling really well in the first round. She really did a good job at stopping that Kimura. I can't remember which girl it was, but one of them threatening with the Kimura, and she did a great job stopping it like 3 times. Great fight, though. Great fight by the ladies.
Yeah, man, I enjoyed it a lot. Again, like I always like, women's MMA when they're grappling like that. It's like you said on the breakdown that a lot of women's MMA are results in arm bars and stuff. And I thought I laughed, but it's true.
They go for the arm, like anything, those arm submissions they go for. If it's an arm bar, if it's a Kimura, if it's something, arm triangle, they love them arm chokes, dude.
In women's MMA, right? Yeah, I get it. You feel me? Again, it was an awesome performance for Johnny Robinson. Shout out to Polyana Viana. I respect anyone that steps in there for the sake of our entertainment, and she did great, until she didn't. And Jillian just looked awesome, and just she submitted her, and that was it.
Moving on to one of the greater fights.
Greatest. For sure, in my opinion, definitely should have won fight of the night. Yeah. In my opinion, it was fight of the night. A little controversial, and then with the scorecard. Really, depending how you looked at it, I'm pretty sure there were people that definitely were dying on that hill. That Ramon Tavares definitely took it that night for sure. I thought Sherry City could have taken it. And it was what it was. Like if they decide to have a trilogy, I would most definitely watch the trilogy. It could be like the main card opener of like a fight night that has fans or something like that. I would definitely catch that for sure. I felt bad for Sherry City. Again, like the trend of like all the friends and family being there and like it's like not getting it done. I know that definitely, that really had to sting. I felt really bad for the male Canadians and And yeah, man, but you got to be happy for the winner, though. Of course, they worked really hard in their training camp to get the victory, and that was the result for Ramon Tavares. And yeah, man, how'd you feel about it? Absolute war between the 3 rounds.
I wish we had like a name for these fights that just was more than just a war or just a throwdown, you know? Like these types of fights are just amazing. Like you get these like
bangers,
like the Morena Pantoja, like when these dudes are just throwing at each other, and it's like the Manuel Cop versus Felipe Dos Santos, like those fights, those wars, and they're nonstop action. That's what a lot of like the casual MMA fan, that's what they love. Like they love and so do we, right? We love when these dudes are just they walk each other down. It's not one dude; they walking each other down, just swinging for lights out. No one's lights went out.
Facts, just me in the middle, right?
So, like with those types of fights, you can't take away. Like, sure, Sergey lost, but like you can't. This isn't a fight that gets you, kicked out the contract. That's your last fight in the UFC. I would assume you're getting another contract.
A contract for sure.
That's impressive, to be fighting someone with like so much power and you're returning it back to him that it went to a decision. Great fight, you gotta love it. This is why we watch prelims, because there's always going to be a good fight on the prelims, dude. Like if you're just sitting there, if you're paying all that money, $600 to sit all the way up there, like go do these early fights, dude. They're good. It's like you're paying all that money and you're missing the best fight of the night.
Right.
Sure, you like storylines, but you're missing the best fight of the night. If you like the sport, you like this fight right here.
I agree. Yeah, man, that was very, very, very well said. And yeah, man, that's why you watch the prelims. Like I always tell my friends, like, the pay-per-views when the movie starts, and like the prelims are like the upcoming movies, like the previews for the upcoming movies, because it's upcoming fighters, and like sometimes you get some pretty good trailers, of what's to come. And yeah, man, and these guys look great. This was a great fight. Really good for Ramon Tavares to bounce back. Coming off the knockout from Contender Series, Guys Revenge,
prove that it really against each other now. So
yeah, he might have proved it. Really might have indeed have been a early stoppage. And yeah, it might have been an early stoppage, and it was good to see him get the victory, man. Made it way more interesting on the card for sure. When this fight started to pick up, and yeah, man, it was just absolutely insane. This fight right here, and I think if anyone watched it would agree, and it was pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. And yeah, man, Sean Woodson versus Charles Jourdain. Just like the jab for Charles Woodson, the reach, it's just the reach advantage over Jourdain. Yeah, but it was pretty funny. At the end of the fight, like I was really caught off guard. I'm really thinking because I'm hearing Sean, but I'm thinking Charles I'm thinking like something really happened, because Charles is going crazy and like he won both hands. I'm like, yeah, and then I really thought like he was saying Charles. Like, I thought I was hearing Bruce wrong or something like that. And yeah, man, like it was a great fight. I enjoyed it. I always enjoy watching Charles Jourdain fight. He's always aggressive, even if he's in a bad spot. And yeah, man, it was good to see Sean Woodson just, come out here, get the victory, and hopefully he can just, really get that momentum going, get that win streak, that active win streak going. He's really big, really big for the division. Really long reach as well. And everyone, he really might be one of the best, top 3, top 5 boxers at featherweight, and he hasn't even ranked yet. So that really shows you when he does get up to the upper echelon. I can't wait to see how he fares against guys like Calvin Kattar and other good boxers such as that nature. So it was a good performance for Sean. We'll see who they decide to give him next. I don't think Charles Jourdain's gonna go anywhere in terms of them thinking about they wouldn't cut him. He had 1 fights before this, so
he's too entertaining to be cut.
And exactly, and that's what I mean by not going anywhere. I think he's still gonna be in really big, medium big fights on certain cards. Like this one will always be on pay-per-views. He'll either be on on the ESPN prelim of a pay-per-view or the main card of a fight night. So it's always cool to see Charles Jourdain fight. I still love watching him fight always. And yeah, man, it was a good performance for Sean Woodson, the sniper.
Yeah. Good fight, very good fight. Charles, he's gonna have to work on trying to cross that distance, because I bet he's not used to being so outreached and sized in a fight. He's trying to throw those spinning back kicks, and they're just not gonna land. Like the way he throws a spinning back kick, unless it's lightning quick, there's just so much reaction time, and Sean Woodson's just like putting his head back and blocking it. One thing to take away though, because as good as like I picked Sean Woodson to win, and like obviously I could be like, oh, reach matters, blah blah blah. This is why he won. There's a takeaway on like what didn't look good with him in this fight, and you'll notice it. Like he almost got clipped a few times because he kept looking at the clock. Now it's okay to like have awareness, right? But I mean, each round there was about 3 times he's looking at the clock with like 3 minutes and 30 seconds left. Do you think you were in there for 5 minutes? That's a problem, right? So it doesn't have to be that it's a stamina issue. It's that he's playing the boxing game. And he's in a clinch right here, like maybe Charles Jourdain takedown. He stops it, gets to his feet. They're looking at each other. Now he's looking up at the clock. And he almost got clipped like 3 times doing that. Like that's with better fighters. I mean, you're getting clipped there. They're going to throw an elbow. And now you're going to be in hell for 3 minutes and 30 seconds, and you just saw the time. So I definitely think you don't see that with a lot of fighters for a reason. Like it's different. Like Islam was looking at the clock because like he knows there was 30 seconds left. He's looking at the clock. But if you're looking at the clock with 3 minutes and 30 seconds, there's definitely something there that needs to change, right? Even if it's just a communication thing, what your coaches could be giving you that. But in a clinch, you should not be looking at the clock like that, almost getting clipped. So that's my takeaway from that. But you are right. He's a great boxer for the division. I'd love to see what the future holds for that. I mean, if he could climb his way up, see against someone who could really throw a spinning back kick at you like Yair, that would be interesting, So we'll see.
Yeah, man. I mean, we'll see how it goes. He's still fairly young, so I've always wanted to see Sean Woodson against, get up to the upper echelon of featherweight, with his, his unique asset. So we're gonna see what happens, man. This guy used to box at heavyweight. In case you guys don't know, y'all can't see a picture of him. Like weighing like 215 pounds, fighting at heavyweight as a boxer. It's pretty funny. He look totally different than how he does now. It's a really, really funny picture. And yeah, man. Yo, Garrett Armfield. Yeah, man. Great performance for Garrett Armfield. Yeah, man. I feel bad for Brad Katona. I feel like the reach advantage for Garrett Armfield definitely was paying dividends for him. And he was able to neutralize the wrestling in Brad Katona at certain moments. And just, yeah, man, had a really good game plan and just nullified what Brad's good at and got the victory. I was really happy for Garrett Armfield. Any underdog that can go to in the enemy territory like that, knowing that you're fighting for all of those people and they all want you to lose like that, and you just quiet the crowd. There's nothing more. There's not many things more satisfying than that. And I was happy for Garrett Armfield in this performance.
Yeah, it's good for him to get this win. Like by no means is Brad Katona like a top dude, right? Like he is who he is, but he has a lot of hype behind him. Like Brad Katona is a name that people know, right? Like he's and winning that as Garrett Armfield is really big for you, like having a win over that, like shutting up because like I said this before the fight, they stack up against each other really similar. Like they are similar fighters. And the only thing we could differentiate between them was that Brad Katona had a little, like, I remember we were talking about with Manny, he had like the dog in him, right? So like, yeah, that was a distinguishing factor for Manny. So it's like, it's interesting that like Garrett, he said like in his mind, like I stack up well against him, I can win this fight, and he goes out there and does it. Like that's going to be remembered when we're talking about him down the line. Like he beat Brad Katona, he shut that hype up in Brad's hometown. So it's like. Good for him, man.
Oh yeah, I was definitely very happy for Brad. For Brad, I almost said Brad. I'm tripping. For Garrett, man. It was a good performance, bro. Definitely, I agree with everything. I agree with everything that you just said. He got the win over the Ultimate Fighter winner. Won the Ultimate Fighter twice. Brad Katona did. And yeah, man, it was a good one for Garrett Armfield, man. Really come over here and beat one of these UFC caliber guys and gain that respect. You showed you could do it in a hostile territory. So now they're probably going to give him a good fight, maybe, like put him on a decent card, probably with more fans. He showed that he can definitely put on a show for the fans in this performance. So it was honestly a really good win for Garrett Armfield, man. I was really proud of him just to persevere through all that throughout the fight week. There's probably people seeing Garrett Armfield in the street and like talking trash because everyone probably like Katona and stuff like that, So it was good to see him get that victory, and I was really happy for Garrett Armfield, man. Shout out to Garrett Armfield for sure. And yeah, man, as we move on to the pay-per-view of the card, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And after the pay-per-view, y'all, we're going to move on to review the UFC 300 card and what they have for us so far. And yeah, man, so absolute war from the opening bell. It was a close fight, really, really close fight. The rolls from Allen in the first round were extremely dynamic. Like, it was just absolute, very, very fast-paced fight. Mobsar showed he's definitely, like, he's never a bad striker, but I think it's one of his best striking performances, especially when he hurt Allen in that second round. Hurt him twice like that, and made Allen's hands go up. He stayed on his feet because he's almighty, like just his mindset and like in the fight and adrenaline. Because some dudes are getting dropped by that, and like Mobstar might try to chase a submission or something like that. And Allen was there the whole time. Some people were online saying they thought he won round 1 and 3. Mobstar definitely looked good in 2. But either way, I did think it was a close fight between the two. Biggest thing coming out of the card, the fight. The knees that took place at I think they might have happened. I forgot what round. It might have been like round
in 3.
3. Yeah. Okay. So I think what happened, like, because Mobstar had his hand down, and obviously he was trying to touch the ground, like play the game, whatever. I'm not gonna blame Mobstar for that. It's a role he can use. It's a fight. You do whatever you can do to win a fight. It is what it is. If it was on the street, they're throwing sand into his face and start doing all types of stuff on the street. So this, I get it. He touched the ground. I felt like, I think Allen, Arnold was really trying. I think you could see him trying to hold Mobstar up and like knee him to the cage like that, because you could see like he knew he was trying to touch the ground. Which like that lets you know how they both like that, like their mindsets at that moment. That's a crazy fight.
High level.
And like
high level.
Yeah, very extremely much so. Very, 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 very much so. And yeah, man, it's like he was trying to really. Again, I can't blame Mobstar for that. He did what he was supposed to do. I can't say he did anything like wrong like that. I can't say I don't like the rule. I can't say that. I really don't like the rule. Like, it is what it is. Like, I feel like, he has to have like both knees or like have like his buttocks or like his back or something like, and you can't just like touch the ground and now I'm a downed opponent like that. Like, and, but like, yeah, but if it, again, like, were the knees illegal? That being the big question. Because, he was holding him up. So, like, he was trying to hold him up and hold up knee. So he was trying to like see if the hand was on the ground and knee. Either way, Mark Goddard stopped them. So I guess you could say they were illegal. You definitely say they were illegal. Mark Goddard, if Mark Goddard stopped the fight like that and gave Mobstar time to rest. He didn't take a point, because I think he himself was like, okay, I think those were definitely just like we definitely can't have those type of knees. But it's not so illegal to the point where I'm going to take a point from Arnold and, just stuff like that. And again, it was a good performance for Mobstar too, even to come back from taking that knee and riding out the third round and, and getting the victory, So very, very frenetic pace from the opening bell. I love this fight. Definitely going to put this in the UFC fight. Excuse me, y'all. Put this in the UFC Fight Pass, like, file a cabinet of the fights that I want to watch, and I'll show people when I say, hey, do you want to get into MMA and stuff like that? I'm going to show them this fight, because they had everything. They were on the ground. They were wrestling. They were striking. And this fight had everything. And it went to a decision. So that's how it was that high level. And yeah, man, really, really good fight, Nikki, for sure, bro.
Yeah, like, when discussing this, so, like for me, I want to take a step back and just like really talk about like the discussion that like people try and have about this. Like when this happens, who are you going to talk to, right? Who's in the room with you? And then you're going to go on the internet, right? So you go on X, you go on Twitter, whatever you want to call it. And you look in these comments, or like you look in the comments about the fight, and it's like robbed, rigged, Toronto's rules suck, right? And then there's the dudes who like, oh, Evil won, shut up, blah blah blah. So like, there's no knowledge in what people are saying, right? They're just saying the first thing that comes to their mind, trying to be the biggest a-hole they can, right? So there's no room for discourse about the fight. But here's where we're gonna have it, right? So it's like, one thing to talk about is like, they say these fighters should know the rules and where they're fighting. Okay, think about this in another perspective. If it's a basketball game and they're in Toronto and all of a sudden alley-oops don't count for points, do you think they're going to always remember that 3 quarters into the game like that? So now, do you think Arnold Allen is going to remember right there in that situation that the difference between a down to opponent is his being on the ground versus his fit? Like, so Arnold did the right thing. Anywhere else in the world, when he jacked him up, his fingers were the only. It wasn't a hand. It was his fingers were the only thing. All 4 knees. All he had was his fingers as a downed opponent. Nowhere else in the world is that I'm sure of is that considered a downed opponent. But Movsar benefited from that because I guess he knew that, or maybe he didn't. Like, maybe he forgot too while he's getting kneed, and he just happened to have it. But Arnold did the right thing there, right? It just is not the right location. And that took all his momentum away from the fight. Like, sure, Movsar won the fight, and we can't take this away from him, right? This fight's his for the rest of the history. But also, you can't take away the fact that Arnold Allen had all the momentum, and he could have finished him right there. I mean, did you see the blood coming out the side of that guy's head after those knees? That's real. He sat down. He had to sit down on his ass after those knees for a damn good reason.
And he sat down for a minute. Right.
He got up quick. He got up within 2 minutes, I think, but he was hurt. Like, he was hurt. He was against the cage, and that's Arnold Allen. That's one of the strongest featherweights in the world. Like, he's gonna apply that pressure. He could probably win that fight and end your O right there. But like, at the end of the day, I was mad about it, but like, I move on. Like, it happened. The rules are the rules. Like, it wasn't the wrong thing. It just sucks that there's different rules in different areas, you know. Hopefully one day we could get that like these UFC and PFL, they could all have their specific rules that apply only for them no matter where they're fighting, you know, like rehydration clauses and all that, because it's annoying. It's a lot for these guys to know. Like, they're fighting. They can't know the whole rule book for Canada when they're fighting. Like, they also have to protect themselves and stuff. There's other things that go into the fight besides the rules, and them changing based on locations is kind of annoying in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I get it, man. Like, for sure. Like one of it, especially, you know, when it can kind of, you know, result in controversial instances in a fight like that, like a headbutt, you know, clash of heads, anything like that. And, you know, of course, with this, we had, you know, we're inadvertent, you know, you could say like illegal knees, you could say. There's some people online that they think they're not illegal at all. You know, there's some people that 100% think they were 100% legal.
But they are in Canada. They are illegal in Canada, so that's, you know, that's the important thing.
And yeah, you know, exactly. You know, I definitely respect that, and we have to abide by the rules, you know. And yeah, man. And again, like, you know, it still resulted in a really good fight. Arnold, I thought he had an awesome game plan. I thought he was matching the strength of Movsar. It was just like, man, because I mentioned, like, you know, Movsar is a master of sport and Greco-Roman wrestling, and that's the wrestling where you see how he controls the upper part of the body like that. So that body lock wasn't getting let go, and they definitely trained those Granby rolls in the training room all the time.
I was scared every time he did it that he would get his back taken, and it just kept working in his favor. And then he was just throwing Movsar off of him. He prepared very well for this fight.
Yeah, man, and like, exactly, and like, again, that's credit to the gym that he trains in, legendary gym, TriStar, the home of George St. Pierre, the home of Rory McDonald, two Canadian legends, and yeah, man, it was a great fight, and I said it. I think I said it on the breakdown. We can see this fight again. I think we're gonna see them fight again. I don't think Arnold's gonna really go anywhere like that. I think he'll revolve around the top 5 for a long time. He's still really young. I don't think we've seen the prime Arnold Allen yet. I think once he hits like 31, 32, when he's that strong, that fast, like, you know, that grown man, like, you know, he's already been here for a long time, but he hasn't taken that much damage either. So I do think that, like, he will definitely see the prime Allen in a couple years, but that one lets you know how good Movsar will be at that time as well. So it's gonna be pretty cool. It's like, you know, it's like an anime little rivalry going on. You know, it's gonna be pretty cool to see them fight. And like yeah, they're the same age, so it's like stuff like that's really cool. Like you're born in the same year, and like you walk the same path, and you know your paths cross. You know, and that's awesome. You know, that's really really cool to me. But yeah, man. Moving on to the second fight of the pay-per-view. Man, good win for Chris Curtis. Looked good against Marc-Andre Barriault. Felt good for Chris Curtis, you know, coming off those two results that he had, you know, the headbutt. And then like, yeah, it was like the like some headbutt stuff with Nasty Imavov. And then like it was now that's clash of heads. But then with the Kelvin Gastelum, that was like, you know, a headbutt and all that, and they kept fighting. And then like he lost the decision to Kelvin Gastelum. And we saw him, and like we saw the rant that he went on Twitter after. Like he was very, 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 very upset. You know, he tweeted at least like 6 or 7, 8, 9 times, just letting the world know like he definitely should be given a rematch, or like, you know, the commission should, you know, like, you know, he's definitely going to try to appeal it, you know, get it turned to a no contest. And yeah, you know, so it's good to see him come out and get a victory. You know, it was a split, you know, it was a decision, but still a victory nonetheless, you know, in Canada, hostile territory over a Canadian fan favorite, and Marc-Andre Barriault. Of course, we know what he did in TKO. And yeah, man, and Chris Curtis looked good, bro. I was happy for him to come out and get the victory. Thought he had a good game plan, like always, you know, training at Extreme Couture with Sean Strickland, who we'll talk about later. And yeah, man, it was a good performance for Chris Curtis.
Yeah, for me, it's like I also take away from this fight with Chris Curtis, like how far is he gonna really go in this division? It's like for him, it's like he should be knocking dudes out a little more than he does. Like I think it's a product of being like practicing with Sean Strickland that you let these fights go to decision. He doesn't take too much initiative in his fights. Is the one thing and like if he wants to fight decisions, like that's him. That's his game plan. He won the fight. Like that's winning the fight is a good thing. But someone like Chris Curtis should be knocking dudes out. Like he has a lot of strength for where he fights, and he doesn't adapt too much in his fights. He just controls what he can, and I guess that's his counter striking. So there's that fight. Wasn't my favorite fight of the night. I'll say that. I was a little more hyped for it than I thought I was.
Oh yeah, nah, yeah, I get it, man. Yeah, good win for CC. We'll see what he decides to do from here. You know, he's going to keep on fighting, of course, but we'll see what we'll see what type of opponent he'll get next. And yeah, man, I was really happy for him to bounce back like that. They got a pretty funny podcast, him and Sean Strickland. It's pretty funny. I'm not gonna lie. You guys should definitely go check it out if you guys haven't already. Really two entertaining characters, those two. Of course, we saw Sean Strickland during the fight week at Media Day, so we know how entertaining he can be on the mic. So definitely go check out their podcast. There's some funny dudes. And yeah, moving up the ladder as prepared to close out 297. Yeah, man, it's the feature bout of the night. Yeah, man.
Right,
like yeah, man. Like I felt terrible for Mike Malott. I felt horrible for Mike Malott, man. If there is one dude whose friends and family are there, you know for a fact Mike Malott. I mean, he had the dudes in the press conference screaming, "Mikey!" Like seriously, man, it was just really unfortunate, man, because he was looking good rounds 1 and 2. Of course, the big narrative was that Mike Malott had never been to a third round. He got to that third round, and unfortunately it didn't work out for him, man. He got tired, he gassed out. Neil Magny being the absolute veteran that he is, literally, thank you for your service. He took advantage, man. He gassed out, got on top, started laying ground and pound. I thought Kevin McDonald wasn't going to stop it.
I didn't think so first. Either. I was like,
I was like, bro, if he don't stop, like, he wasn't.
And if he lets it go, then Mike Malott wins by decision.
Wins by decision. Crazy. So I'm thinking, like, is he like, bro? It's 25 seconds. It's 25 seconds. Don't let this man take that damage for 25 seconds. So, Yeah, man. It was a great performance for Mike Malott until it wasn't, man. And like it's, again, I think he could bounce back, man. I get it. That was a shot to his confidence for sure, man. Because on paper they were giving him a ranked opponent. Neil Magny was ranked number 14 or 13. They're going to try to get him in the bottom half of the rankings. I think they definitely would have gave him like number 7, number 8, something like that. Try to get him up there fast. He's 32, so he's in the dead smack of his prime. So I really thought they were going to just try to push him. Which, they gave him a ranked opponent. They put him in the position, and unfortunately it didn't work out. Got to be happy for Neil Magny. And yeah, man, great performance. It's a great performance for Neil. Great comeback for Neil. Great comeback. It's crazy, man. That's why you watch the sport. You never know what's going to happen. You literally never know what's going to happen. That's why I always say, we can break down the fights for 20, 30 minutes. It don't matter. Anything can happen once they step in there. Fists start getting thrown. And yeah, bro, it is what it is. And I was really happy for Neil Magny. Really happy for him. Needed this victory. Took out a prospect like that. And weather the storm and just got the victory, like the veteran he is. So shout out to Neil Magny, most definitely.
Yeah, for me, it's like you can't lose that fight like that as your Mike. It's like you were doing so good, right? So the game plan with Neil moving forward is leg kicks, right? He can't check leg kicks for some reason. You're doing all the right things, and you're checking his leg kicks, and you're just winning that fight. And then you get to that third round, and it's like you can't lose like that. You had such little time, and you were just so undisciplined there at the end, and then you're on the bottom and you're just getting, and those were not hard punches. Like Neil was not throwing hard punches. If you really look, it was more volume than it was like the value of his punches, but it was just so much because Mike was so tired, and it's like, damn, you weren't ready for 3 rounds. It's simple. You weren't ready for the third round because there was nothing going into that third round that had the momentum going towards Neil. So it's like you had one more round to go that should have just been like a sparring session for you. If the third round is practice, and he let that fight go, it's like it's bad. Like, because the next dude is gonna fight Neil, it's another gatekeeper fight. It's the next man up, and you're letting that next man up pass you. Now you gotta wait. You're not gonna get Jeff Neal. Like, he's got to fight with Ian Gary. So like, who's the next there? And then there's a difference between Neil Magny and Jeff Neal, and then the people above them. Like, those are the 2 gatekeepers, and they know they are. You got to get past them, and now you messed that opportunity up. So now you're just setting yourself back and letting someone else take your spot.
Yeah.
Like, so it's a tough loss for him at home. He was definitely embarrassed after that. He stayed on the floor for a while, but yeah, that's is what it is.
It's life, man. Sometimes, yeah, man, you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. It doesn't matter how hard you work. Sometimes it's not going to go your way. And I just hope for Mike Malott that he decides to keep going. He can bounce back. He's still young. Magny's had a lot of losses himself, and he never gave up. He got right back on the horse. So, yeah, man, we'll just see what Mike Malott does next. We'll see whatever the UFC, whatever opponent they give him, we'll see what direction they're trying to go with Mike Malott now. Definitely. I look forward to it. I still like Mike Malott, man. He's still a really cool dude. And yeah, we got a new champion in the co-main event. I was happy for Raquel Pennington. Everything she's been through, for a real long time. A lot of clinch game in this fight, a lot of transitions, a lot of wrestling, a lot of elbows by Myra, a lot of jabs by Pennington. Yeah, man, a lot of people were hating on this fight, man. Like, RC, Ryan Clark, former safety for the Pittsburgh Steelers, that's the show with Daniel Cormier now. Like, he went in on this fight, he was extremely upset when it came to this matchup. And a lot of people were around the world. Like, I get it. It was what it was. It was a fight. I was still happy for Raquel. She completed her live stream. She can retire now, knowing that she became the champion. She will forever have a belt in her house, and all that. She definitely got a pretty penny for winning that on Saturday night. And yeah, man, I was happy for Raquel Pennington. Just like that.
So yeah, I heard that Mayra Bueno Silva got hit in the side of the head so hard that her eardrum blasted, right? So take a step back just to the beginning of the fight. A lot of people had Mayra Bueno Silva winning this. I mean, we could go down and look right now at the pre-fight predictions. You see that, right? And that's what bothers me, because like in my breakdown, I said, when you look at their resumes, like, you don't have to like Raquel Pennington to know that she's seen way better competition. She's been around here way longer. And nothing in Mayra Bueno Silva's, like, sure, you could pick her if you want, but nothing in her resume really stood out besides, oh, she could finish a little better. But that doesn't mean she's going to be able to finish someone at Raquel Pennington's level. And Raquel was doing so good in the stand-up, and she still gave Mayra Bueno Silva like 50 chances to win this fight every time she would walk up to her. And Mayra still couldn't get it done. So it's just annoying to me. It's like that so many people were against Pennington. Like, why? Were you more attracted to Mayra Bueno? Like, what was the real logic of picking Mayra Bueno Silva? I don't know. It just bothered me that whole time. And I couldn't wait for that fight to go, because I knew I had Raquel winning that. And she did good. She just needs to discipline herself more and stay at distance. Because, like, even though she's the champion, the belt is up for grabs. This isn't like the belt, no, it genuinely is, because like with drawing blanks on the flyweight, not the flyweight. Who's the fighting at 300? Can you remind me her name?
Kayla Harrison in the Holly
No, the champion. I'm sorry, I can't remember her name.
Oh, it's about Zhang Weili and Yang Xiaonan.
Like, when she won her last fight, it was so dominant of a title defense that the belt isn't up for grabs. But with this, it's like you saw right through Raquel Pennington, and it's like the belt is up for grabs. We don't know by who, but like the belt is up for grabs, you know? So like, there's definitely some improvement for her as the champion to make. But that's the thing we see a lot when champions come in their next fight, their first title defense, and look way better. So there's gonna be that.
Yeah, I get it, you know, for sure. And again, let's, you know, shout out to Raquel, you know, definitely got the job done. Yeah, man, even DC, you know, DC was really upset with Mayra Bueno Silva. He said, I'm in the 5th round. Because in the 5th, you know, it was the control time. Mayra had like 6 minutes at that point. It was like 3 minutes and 3 minutes from across like the last like 4 rounds, that like, you know, just from throughout like the clinching and like just throughout the fight, like she took her down at one point with a double leg. Raquel, and then Sean submitted her in the first, but then Raquel, being the veteran she is, slipped out. And then in the 5th round, Mayra Bueno Silva could have just controlled her. And DC said she could have won the fight off controlling. And it's like, you know, that would have been it, you know, because, you know, it was what it was. But Mayra, you know, she attacked a submission, and I mean, like, yeah,
she attacked the submission with no stamina. It's like, and then
Raquel reversed her, and then she held her down for 5 minutes and like, you know, again, like, you know, it was a, you know, good performance for Raquel for sure. I think like in terms of like the competition that she faced, like even like, you know, it was really more so like she has the experience for sure. You know, it's Marion Renault, and she was like 44, and then she was about to retire, and like that was one of like Raquel's wins, like, and then like I know like Ketlin Vieira, I can't remember if you could pull up Pennington's resume right quick, of course, like Raquel Pennington, yeah, of course, the new bantamweight champion. I just forgot like her win streak right quick. I just want to share her win streak right quick. I mean, like, yeah, it was Macy Chiasson, Pannie Kianzad, and Aspen Ladd. So it was like the Ketlin fight. I thought that was definitely like the best win on like the rise and stuff. I thought like, you know, Mayra decided like really like killer instinct. You know, I thought she was really like just and like, yeah, it was close in this fight. I still thought she landed good elbows. She landed good strikes. She got tired in the 3rd round, and then yeah, and you know, like Pennington being the veteran that she is, you know, she just stayed focused in round 4, clinched her up. I was still shocked that Mayra was able to reverse her, to be quite honest, and still like get minutes like that. You could hear Pennington's corner telling her not to engage, just stay out and strike. And Pennington was still trying to clinch up with her. And in the 5th round, like how we said, you know, Mayra was holding her back. And then she tried to get the hooks in one last time, and she went for the choke, and then she slipped, and Raquel like reversed it, and then got on top, and like that was it. We'll see what happens for sure. With this division, a lot of people are really mad over the fight. Of course, it's what it is. But yeah, shout out to Raquel Pennington. And yeah, I was really happy for her. I was really happy for her to really knowing everything she's been through, all the losses she had, losing to Amanda the first time. And like the way that she did, she came back, and she got the victory, decision, finish or not, she got the victory. And yeah, I was happy for her, And moving on to
real
the
quick before
main
we do move on, I do think there's when I did say the division's open, I really think like a lot of people are going to jump right to Juliana Pena being probably the best contender of theirs, but I do think Irene Aldana can get back in there. I think she's a better striker than Raquel, and that's what Raquel looked the best, and that's what won her the belt. So I think Irene, she should get the fight next. I mean, that'd be great that they fought already. That's a continuation of them two. So I think that would be the next fight to make is Irene Aldana, especially after that nice win, that fight of the year contender win. That's a good fight to make. Right.
Yeah, I agree. For sure. Yeah, definitely. I definitely wouldn't mind seeing Irene in the title picture again, seeing how I know she lost to Amanda. I think she more so froze in front of Amanda. And going to the main event of UFC 297, very good fight for sure. Yeah, it was really controversial, man. Like really, really split. If you pull up MMA decisions, like we don't have that. I'm like, yeah, you guys can search it up for yourself. If you guys look that up, you will see that it was literally split down the middle. It was like 12 for Strickland, 12 for Duplessis. Among journalists that attended the fight that scored it. So it was really that close of a fight. I really walked away just feeling like, yeah, it's really one of those fights, y'all. And I'm not even saying that to say that. It's really one of them fights. I thought Strickland took it personally. Me, of course, I picked Strickland to win. On that, I'm never gonna be biased ever when it comes to taking picks. I just thought the damage on Duplessis' face was just evident. And of course, Sean got the cut. The Duplessis indeed did land. I thought it was the takedowns that Dricus did that really that swayed the judges. But even John McCarthy, who's refereeing, he's extremely objective. John McCarthy said Dricus did nothing with the takedowns and that they shouldn't count. But I've always said if you're in a fight and you're both striking and doing really good striking, whoever is the one to mix it up is going to be the one that looks good. And yeah, if you go to UFC stats, y'all, and look at the strikings round by round, it was super close. Sean, they would edge each other out by 3 strikes. And they said the biggest striking disparity was round 1, and that was because of the jab. And then Dricus really had to really work around the jab. He kept getting stung by it over and over. And so on round 2, he was just being more aggressive, walking him down. Round 3, Strickland adjusted, started being more aggressive himself, started countering more. It was a really good fight. It was really, really, I enjoyed it a lot. I saw someone online said that Sean looked like Kratos after he started bleeding like that. Yeah, when he started going down his head. It was crazy because I hadn't seen Strickland bleed in such a long time, man. So it was crazy, it was man, this is what he does for a living, man. No matter what you see the shit that he say outside the cage, no matter any of that, no matter the controversy, any of that stuff, you gotta respect what he does for a living, man. Cause seeing another man do that shit, yeah, bro, and you gotta fight through that shit, man, and really and same for Dricus too. His eye was super duper swollen by the end of the fight. I know he could barely see out of it. He would just throw an eye, out his right eye, and he could barely see. Both fighters really had to just give their all in the matchup. I would be down for a rematch. I'm not gonna lie. I know Strickland didn't defend it, but I still like to see a rematch, just for the controversy and stuff like that. And I know Dricus definitely wouldn't duck Strickland, not at all. And yeah, man, I think it was a good fight. And yeah, how'd you feel about it? Main event 297.
Yeah, you made great points. I really like what you said. The thing about mixing it up, it's sure he had 2 minutes of control with 6 takedowns, sure 6 of 11, so he shot over 50% on your takedowns. You got to realize that so they're standing up the whole time. I really like that point. They're standing up, so it's the first person to mix it up. Sean also has like an 80% takedown defense.
84%, yeah.
So you're not just taking down anyone. You're taking down someone who has very good takedown defense. And they weren't light takedowns. I mean, he had a Volkanovski takedown, legs in between, and got you down.
Yeah.
He had his signature trip when he hugs you and gets your leg. Like, that's very impressive. And like, it's mixed martial arts. It's not boxing. If it's a boxing fight, Sean might have won it, but it's not boxing. It's mixed martial arts. Takedowns are a factor. Also, this isn't very much of a rule I'm sure on, but based on decision, Sean threw a lot of jabs, and Dricus threw a lot of other things, right? So Dricus was throwing overhands, hooks, head kicks, body kicks, leg kicks. He was really switching it up. I mean, sure, Sean landed the jab. This isn't a knock, but the jab's probably the easiest thing to land, right? It's the straight 1-2. It's the quickest throw you can make, right? Point A to point B. It's the quickest thing you can make. And this doesn't have to do with it, but like a lot of people acting like it was so day and night that Sean won because he was throwing more jabs. I mean, Dricus really showed mixed martial arts in that fight. He was doing great. He caught him a few times. A lot of the damage that was done to Dricus was done in the first round. And then the jab only reinforced. Obviously, makes it swells up more as the fight goes on. Even if he got jabbed in the face or not, after 20 minutes of what he had in the first round, that eye was going to shut regardless.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But like, it's a great fight. Yeah. But like a lot of things that's annoying is that you can't have this discourse with just anybody about the fight, because it's like people are just so like mad that their pick lost with Sean, right? And they're just like they're being embarrassing to the sport. And we all like you probably know, and a lot of you guys watching probably know the thing with John Anik. It's like he was attacked over his saying that Dricus won the fight. Bro, we're attacking John Anik, one of the greatest minds in the sport, just because he's a commentator. Now he's just a commentator, right? That's what people are saying. Oh, he's just a commentator. Who cares if he leaves? That's so disrespectful. I don't even know why you're watching the sport. Go watch boxing since you like boxing so much. Or go to Extreme Couture and go sit in the corner, and you can watch as much Sean Strickland as you like. But where the hell did all these Sean Strickland fans come from? It's getting embarrassing, dude. Like everyone remembers the discourse about Sean Strickland before he won that UFC gold.
Right.
And he came in there and he beat Israel Adesanya, and now he's just like what he says on the mic does more for him in the cage than out of it. You know, that's how I see it. People think he's so funny, and like what he says, like, sure, he's entertaining, don't get me wrong, but like they take that and they bring it into the cage almost, and it gives him like a point in the round or something. Like, he's entertaining, don't get me wrong. He's a very one-dimensional dude, and you can't come on here complaining that you got robbed when you're a decision fighter. You know, you didn't come out there to finish that fight. He didn't. He waited till the fifth round. You could see the difference in his strikes. He's throwing like tired hooks. That's you didn't
overhands.
The
overhands.
Dricus was trying to finish you from the start. He couldn't, and that's props to Sean Strickland. But Sean, if you fight for a decision all the time, you can't be mad when you lose them. You know, it's simple.
And like and then even then with the second round, I feel like Dricus knew he lost the first, so he was gonna come out, be more aggressive in the second. It was a close fight. I thought Strickland took I thought Dricus took 3 and 4. The second round is the one that's like really, 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 really close. That's really, really close to people and stuff like that. I thought the first round was Sean, the fifth round was Strickland. He's like, I thought the gas tank was Sean for Strickland in the fifth round. I thought he was still walking him down with a lot of pressure. And to say, still looking really good. He wasn't like chinned, wasn't wobbled, wasn't tired, nothing like that. And it's just again, it was a close fight. I'm not gonna say robbery, not in the slightest.
It's a split decision. I'm
glad split. You know, like I'm not gonna I would never ever hit. Y'all gotta know robbery is like when like the fighter that wins didn't win like a single minute of the fight, and they get like the decision. You know, like that's a robbery. That's like a blatant
you can't have robberies every week, guys.
Every time you can, bro. And I get it, y'all. And y'all. Even then, what do I always say? Like you can't be mad when you get fights right, and you can't be happy when you get fights right, and not and not be chill out, not be relaxed when you get it wrong. You can't let it really like get to you like that. You can't get mad over a result you cannot control in the slightest. It's only if it's a close fight, that's one thing. If you're picking like a plus 800 underdog just to make like some money, and that plus 800 underdog gets smoked by that massive favorite, then then I don't know what I don't know what you want me to tell you. But if it's like a minus 150, minus 140, plus 180, stuff like that, it's a competitive fight, bro. And you can't control what goes on in there. And that is what it is. You feel me? Amanda Nunes was a minus 1,000 over Juliana Pena and got choked out in the second round. You feel me? So is what it is, And for those that are saying what happened in the rematch, at the post-fight press conference at UFC 289, you can see Amanda's whole half of her face was just completely shut. And I don't know if a ghost did that or if that was Juliana Pena's hands, most definitely. So good main event. 297. I was happy for Canada to get a main event like this. It was cool for them to really get shown some love. And they're closing out the card. Again, I gave it about like a 7, somewhere around there, 6.5, 7, something like that. It's decent pay-per-view. And how'd you feel about it before we move on to 300?
It was cool. I'm not happy with the way people reacted to it. It's just simple as that. I don't know why you watch the sport if you're not okay with the outcomes. The same, right. If Dricus was the champion and he lost, you just gotta deal with it, dude. It's entertainment. This doesn't affect us in any way. If you bet on it, listen,
that's one thing.
We're in a world where gambling's so easy, but you got to remember what gambling is. Gambling is dangerous. Gambling's not supposed to be the way to get you where you want to be. Gambling's a thing for fun. You throw $5
for side money and stuff like that.
Yeah, man, and it's so easy to gamble, and then it just I think the gambling aspect of it really ruins the sports that we watch. So you just gotta be okay with the outcomes of it, guys. It's as simple as that,
Got you. 1 minute, Nick. I'll be right back. Someone just came in my apartment, but you can pull up 300 right quick. 1 second.
Yeah, guys, but we're gonna move on to UFC 300. So we do know there have been some new fights announced. What was that? McGregor versus Chandler. Guys, when did this get announced? Let me just real quick. He can mute himself when he's back. When did this come up? I don't know. That's interesting. Okay, unconfirmed rumor. Okay, that's funny. It's did I miss something while we were doing this? But yeah, we got UFC 300. Unconfirmed rumor. Okay, Leon versus Bilal. We all know that's been being talked about a lot. I muted you, but you're good if you're right there. Okay. They have McGregor versus Chandler 302 unconfirmed rumor on here. I didn't know that.
Unconfirmed. Yeah. I mean, they'll do that sometimes.
That's scary.
Of course,
did we miss something?
God forbid that ever happened. I feel like that's more of an estimation. Everyone's just throwing stones at the wall, seeing Conor came out and said, June 29th.
Yeah, let's save Conor for another day. We're talk about that. We'll talk about the movie and everything another day.
Of course. Yeah, I can't. Roadhouse. Right. I might go see that shit now.
That looks good, dude.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Shout out to Jake Gyllenhaal. Yeah, man. But yeah, so talking about UFC 300, guys, we're just gonna scan the card right quick and to see what they got for us. So the card's been catching a lot of hate online. We definitely wanted to, give our piece on it right quick. You feel me? And I want you to go first. How do you feel about it? All 10 fights so far, you can just, from one by one, just how do you feel about
So I tweeted about this. What was bothering me that people kept comparing it to 299, saying 299 is a better card. So the thing with 300, it's 299 is a casual card, right? It's for the casual viewers. You put really exciting fighters against each other. That doesn't make it better than 300. 300 is for the people, right? It's for the UFC fans. 299 is to bring the attention, right? That's why it sounds so cool. But when you look at it Kevin Holland versus MVP, MVP has improved nothing in the UFC, and it's like Dustin Poirier's fighting Benoit Saint Denis. Who has Benoit beat? Like, I'm not trying to knock him. He has one ranked win, and he's fighting Dustin Poirier, one of the greatest lightweights ever. Like, he's right up there with the best. So we could talk about that. You know, if anyone wants to comment about it, talk to me on Twitter, please, about that, because it pisses me off. But 300 is good, dude. So we got the BMF belt. Dana said it wasn't going to be defended, but here we are.
Here we are.
This is probably going to be about like the fourth fight down from the main event, right? So like the second on the main card, I'd assume. Charles Oliveira and Yuri, like those are prelim fights, dude. We got Charles Oliveira at plus money. It's like, that's crazy, dude. Let's look how people are picking Oliveira as they should. Because I mean, him at plus money is. Do we know who Charles? That's a big ass dude right there. Armin, no knock to you. We'll see. It's gonna be a great fight. We got Yuri versus Rakic. That should be a banger. I mean, Yuri is a dog. We got Weili versus Jiaonan. That's going to be a great fight. Those are two great fighters. Calvin Kattar versus Sterling. Aljamain at featherweight. Who knows? Is he going to strike with him? Probably not. He's probably not going to want to strike too much with Calvin Kattar. Got Bo Nickel and Cody Brundage. Cody Brundage's last fight, I remember he did have a get back. Yeah, Zach Reese. That was recently. That was a get back in the, who I am column. Bo Nickel, y'all know Bo Nickel is. Davison Figueiredo and Cody Garbrandt. Banger fight. I was just watching the Cody Garbrandt versus Dillashaw series the other night. That was a great fight. Those great fights, even though he lost them both. After that, he fell down. Now they're both making their way up in the bantamweight division. Bobby Green, good to see him back so soon. I thought it was going to be a little longer. Jim Miller, what a dog.
Right, yeah.
And then the last two fights we got on here, Holly Holm still fighting, Kayla Harrison coming over. I'm not too sure where she's coming over from, but I do hear a lot about her. She's a pretty big name, so I'll let Antoine break her down in a few minutes. And then we got Sodiq Youssef, a ranked contender, versus Diego Lopez. He's getting another ranked contender after not being able to get it done against Mavsar. Now he gets Sodiq Youssef. That's a great way to start the night. If that's the first fight of the night, that's a great way to start it because Diego has the hype.
Right. Yeah, man, definitely. Like, if I had to pick the fight I'm looking forward to the most out of all the newly announced ones, man, it's pretty difficult. I am looking forward to Oliveira versus Sarukian, though, because I feel like that's just one of the most, like, high-level matchups in the lightweight division. And I'm excited for Justin Gaethje versus Max Holloway. I don't know if you guys know, but, like, during, like, I watched the interview with Max Holloway that he did with Brett Okamoto, and Max said that when Max was fighting a UFC 150 versus Lawrence Taylor up in Denver, Colorado, Gaethje was training, and he hadn't even been in World Series of Fighting yet. And Max was training at like Gaethje's gym for a week, and Gaethje saw him like he needed a ride with his friend, and Gaethje offered Max and his friend a ride and stuff like that. So he's driving them around and like throughout like the week and stuff like that, and like they're just going back and forth in the car, seeing how and Max said Justin wasn't even in the World Series of Fighting yet, so he wasn't even like a professional fighter. That was just like.
That's crazy.
That was Justin. That was just Justin in the car, and like just hearing that story, like I replayed it like 2-3 times just to really make sure, because like that's like a literal movie, bro. If you could pull up the fight, actually, like that's like a literal movie. Like that's like an actual movie, bro. When you actually like, I mean, you gotta realize like Max was sitting in the car with the dude, like y'all are going back and forth, and like you don't know, like y'all are gonna end up fighting on like what is arguably could be like the biggest pay-per-view of all time of what y'all do for a living, you feel me? And you're going to be fighting each other, like, and it's just like, little do you know that as I'll chop it up in the car and just talk about life. And, he was asking about like, Max was asking Justin about what he wanted to do. He said, then he really wanted to be a pro. And Max was like 20 already in the UFC. And that was back in like 2012. So Gaethje was like 23. So he's older than Max, not even in the UFC yet, because we know Gaethje didn't get here until he was like 28, versus Max, who's been here since Max is like 20. So that really lets you know, like, y'all follow your own path, like follow your own journey. Like that would be like years later until Justin come over into the UFC with Max and stuff like that. And like we know they had their towel situation at UFC 218 and stuff like that. That was funny. It's so funny, all of that lining up to they actually about to fight each other. That's crazy, bro. Man, I think people are counting Max Holloway out, man, and I just think they got to give him a chance. But y'all got to give him a chance. Y'all got to give him. I love Gaethje, and I'm saying that, man. Y'all got to give Max. I love Max. Everyone love. Like, this gonna be one of them cards, man. It's gonna be one of them cards that night, man. Like, when you this might be like when they have to have every single fighter at the press conference. They might have to really have like all 3 stages set up.
Yo, that'd be crazy. We haven't had that in a long time.
They really might have to do like just the UFC 300 in the big ass prep. They really might not have a choice, man, because like it's just so many fighters, dude. And like I know people are hating on Kayla coming over and stuff like that. Man, like, I'm not going to treat it like that's not a massive deal, man. Everyone's always wondered what it would look like if she ever came over here and fought some of these girls, and it's happening now. So I don't know, like, why people, like, are so mad about it or something like that. I do want to see how she's going to make the weight, though, because, you know, over in the PFL, she was fighting at women's lightweight. That's 155 for women, you know, and when UFC caps out at featherweight, and they don't even have any featherweights like that. So that lets you know, like, she was really fighting in an outworldly, just, you know, otherworldly type of just situation where, like, man, you normally don't do that in, like, you know, other promotions. And now, like, you know, that was kind of unprecedented, you feel me? And so now she's going to come over. If you check her Instagram, I think Dustin posted a picture with Kayla, and she's looking really good. She's already started her weight cut. And yeah, man, I think she's a really smart girl. I already know she's going to hire the best nutritionist, definitely to get the weight down safely, brick by brick off her body. So she can have a safe weight cut to 135. I don't think she's going to let herself go out there and get embarrassed due to a drained body off a weight cut. I don't think she's going to do that to herself. So, yeah, man, I'm really happy to have her over here. I think it's good that she's in the bantamweight division now. It's really cool to add this type of character to the bantamweight division. Juliana Pena and Kayla Harrison at a press conference is like absolute like fireworks because Kayla is extremely confident. We know about her 2 gold medals in judo. And yeah, she grappled with Ronda Rousey when she was young. Ronda was 18, she was 15. So that lets you know like that she got some history there with one of the greatest grapplers in martial arts history, you know. And yeah, man, it's really cool. It's really cool that she's finally over here now. I do want to see how she's gonna do against the competition. Hopefully, you know, she can just like be like a breath of fresh air, like how Michael Chandler was when Michael Chandler first came over at UFC 257 when he knocked out Dan Hooker like that, you know. So it's really cool to have her over here, man. And yeah, and as we just back out and look at the rest of the card, it's a good card, man, for what 300 is supposed to be. Like, yeah, we got Weili Shang, you know, the first ever China versus China title fight. Yuri Prochazka versus Alexander Rakic. The fact I'm really forgetting that's on this card, like, lets you know like how ridiculous this is. You feel me? I would have liked a better opponent for Bo Nickel. I think that would have added on to the card even more if he would have even been fighting like Jack Hermanson. I know Jack Hermanson's fighting like Joe Pyfer, but if he was fighting like just like a number 9, like if he was fighting like Roman Dolidze, say, again, he's fighting Nasruddin Imavov, but he was fighting someone like that just would have like added to the spectacle way more. And yeah, man, like Davis Figueiredo versus Cody Garbrandt. Davis Figueiredo is like a minus 340 favorite over Cody Garbrandt. Nikki just mentioned himself that he was watching the Dillashaw and Garbrandt series. I don't think Cody is what people make him out to be in the slightest. I don't know, that whole no Cody, no chin stuff, I think is like people just being lazy and like coming up with jokes on Twitter and stuff like that. Anyone can get knocked out if you put yourself on a platter to get hit by anyone. It can literally happen to anybody. And Cody was just like, even with the Pedro Munoz fight, when they're blasting right hands at each other, he's just allowing himself to go out there and get knocked out instead of showing like good defense and head movement, like how he could, man. And even then, like he fought Rob Font in a 5-round fight, got jabbed up, punched in the face for 5 rounds, and then went to a decision. And Rob Font knocked out Adrian Yanez, and Adrian Yanez hadn't been knocked out in his career. So to let you know, like, Rob Font definitely has some power on him. And I don't think Cody is as cheating people think he is like that. I think he was really just fighting with emotion, being 25 years old as the champion. And I think he really just like, it really hurt him, man. And I really think that he still has the tools 1,000%. They made him a champion. He is still extremely fast. And to hit that hard while being able to punch that fast, that's extremely dangerous. And that's what got him that belt in the first place. He still has really good footwork. He's still a Team Alpha male. I mean, he's cross-training now, but he does still, of course, train with Team Alpha male here and there. And you know, back and forth between like Vegas and stuff. And yeah, man, I'm not saying I'm picking Cody in this fight. You know, I'm not making a pick yet at all. But yeah, man, I think, you know, of course, we know Davison, obviously, you know, give himself a new breath of new fresh air coming up to bantamweight. I was happy for him getting the win over Rob Font. Speaking of Rob Font, you know, shout out to Rob Font, you know, New England Cartel, you know, and yeah, Davison looked good in that fight as well. You know, of course, that was an older Rob Font from the time Cody fought Rob. So, you know, you could definitely say it was Rob after taking some damage, especially after the Marlon Vera fight for Rob Font when he fought Cheeto. And yeah, this is one of the more intriguing fights on the card for me. I'm going to be glued in my seat watching this card. I'm going to like with every like punch that is thrown, because it's just like, man, I really think it's just, I don't know, man. I think this is a good fight. Minus 340 over, you know, for Davis Figueiredo. I you know, I see it. You know, it's a lot of power. You know, good on the ground as well. Great jiu-jitsu. Both these guys are former champions. Of course, Davis Figueiredo defended his title. Cody didn't. You know, of course, he lost his. But he lost it to, like, you know, another great bantamweight. You know, one of the greatest bantamweights ever, TJ Dillashaw. Of course, you know, the whole EPO situation. You know, make whatever you want out of that. That wasn't at the time of the Cody fights and stuff like that. And yeah, man. Yeah. I like it. I'm happy for Jim Miller. You know, he's getting his UFC 300 wish. Diego Lopez is on the card. This lets you know how much they love Diego Lopez right now. They love Diego Lopez 100% right now. And yeah, man, Aljamain Sterling coming back, you know, after losing his title. It was cool to see him, like, you know, hey, he's a man of his word. Of course, he asked for a rematch, like, you know, because he was owed one, you could say. You don't see a champion defend the belt 3 times and not get a rematch, you know. Mm-hmm. So, but either way, he's a man of his word. He moved up to featherweight to give his best friend Merab Dvalishvili a chance to fight for the title. Of course, he's fighting Henry Cejudo in California at 298, but hopefully Merab can get that done so he can finally get his title shot. And yeah, man, I like it, man. I like it. I said all that to say this, that I like it, y'all. Like, people are hating on it, man. Like, yo, like I was thinking they got to get someone who's never been here before to really spice the card up. And they did that. I've always wondered how Kayla Harrison would have done in the UFC. Like, and she's here, man. She's finally here. It's not going to really hit people until she's at the press conference doing the media day, like with the UFC microphone in her hand, like, and stuff like that. Like, that's when it's really going to hit people, that she's finally here. But we got to know if she's really one of the best female fighters on the planet or not. We got to really know that, because we know in PFL she was fighting a lot of girls that, you know, could survive in the UFC. So we got to see how she does. I think they could have gave her the number 1 contender right when she came into the division and decided number 1 versus an unranked fighter, and that would have been a number 1 contender fight. Yana Kunitskaya came in and fought for her title, her debut against Chris Cyborg. So I think that yeah, man, like, you know, they could have thrown her in there and with with Pena, you know, in a number 1 contender fight. But I think Pena's gonna get a title shot off rip. Juliana Pena was supposed to fight back at UFC 289 and a title shot, but she got injured with her rib, so she's definitely still owed her title shot. You know, she got injured, so and yeah, man. it's a lot of storylines in this card. And yeah, the last thing I'm gonna say on my point, with what I have to say today, was that I want to. It's what you said. How you said Dustin's fighting Benoit Saint-Denis. On this card, we have Charles Oliveira versus Arman Tsarukyan. In my opinion, both of those matchups signify that the UFC want to see what Charles and Dustin have left. Mm-hmm. People got to realize that, guys, when these dudes are in the UFC for that long, like, it's not like the NBA, man, where, like, you know, you get a 3-fight contract in the UFC, you don't get a 3-year contract in the UFC, you know, versus the NBA, NFL. You can get a 5-year deal, 5-year contract. Even if you get traded, you still have like 3 years left on that team you just got traded to. You still have a home, you know, you can still feed your family, you still got to work for the next 3 years. You feel me? For these guys to have been here for over a decade, it like is just a testament. Because Dustin Poirier has never lost more than 2. He's never been on a losing streak ever. It's like a literal stat for him. He's never lost more than 1 fight in a row. So like, it's crazy, man, that because these dudes, I mean, we got to see what's up with Benoit Saint-Denis. I'm not going to compare him to Arman Tsarukyan. I think that Arman Tsarukyan is one of the greatest prospects we've ever seen inside the UFC. His first fight, he went toe-to-toe with Islam Makhachev, and he's the champion now. In Islam at that time, everyone knew he was on his way, and he showed he was cut from that cloth the moment he stepped down, and Arman took that fight on short notice. So, the fact that these UFC legends and Dustin and Charles have to fight these super, super, super bright prospects and Arman and Benoit Saint-Denis, it shows you like a changing of the guard might be happening soon in the UFC. Dustin's 35 years old now. Justin Gaethje's 35 years old now. Charles 34. Like Connor's about to be 35. You know, like it's coming, y'all. And these are the biggest, like, these are some of the biggest fights they got right now in their lives, in their careers. I mean, you know, of course, these guys have fought for titles, but right now these guys are fighting to stay in the title picture. Benoit Saint-Denis is going to have to work really hard to get that shiny number 3 off of Dustin Poirier, to shoot up the rankings like that. Because, you know, he's been a lightweight staple for so long. And to get that shiny number 1 of Charles Oliveira, Arman's going to have to, you know, get the job done. Of course, Arman has a shiny number 4 on him. I mean, I think Arman's number 3 now. So either way, he's top 3. You know, he get a title shot off that alone. But I think they know that they want to see if Arman can do it. If Arman can do it one more time. And we're going to see how it goes. You know, like we really, really, really got to see how it goes. And I look forward to it, man. But before we close it out, what fight are you looking forward to the most on this card?
Main event, whatever it's going to be, probably. But
yeah,
I think there's like big results out of the Max Holloway Justin Gaethje fight. All right, because like Max winning is like crazy. He was saying on an interview that it opens up options for him just taking this fight. You know,
just like, taking the fight. Period.
He wants the 145 belt back. But if he wins this, there's always the chance if he could take a number 1 contender fight or a championship fight whenever it's offered if he wins this. So there's a lot behind that fight. So between that and then whatever the main event's going to be, I'm interested.
And yeah, guys, like we have the BMF title fight on this card as well. Like, and I get it. Some don't care about the BMF. It's super hilarious how Dana said 5 years ago, 2019, UFC 244, that it is a one and done. 5 years later, we got that shit on UFC 300, bro. So that really lets you know that, like, man, like this is the kind of card that it is. I know what y'all are gonna. I know what y'all are thinking, man. It's a placeholder title they can use whenever they don't have a real title for a pay-per-view. They have a 5-round fight. I love it either way. Fighters love it. They like it a lot. Josh Thompson himself said fighters love it. He said he loves it himself. A lot of fighters won't be able to call it. It's a great marketing tool. And if Max Holloway wins that, he can defend it at any weight class. He can go to welterweight. He can go to anywhere to defend that belt if he wants to. He doesn't have to do it at featherweight or lightweight. He can go to 170. He's a tall guy. So, of course, you know, he's a featherweight at heart for sure. That'd be a big jump for Max, but I definitely prefer featherweight for him. But we'll see what he decides to do if he wins, But yeah, guys, look at the card. It's a great card, guys. Welcome Kayla Harrison. Jim Miller's getting his wish. Garbrandt Figgy. Bo Nichols here. Love that spectacle. Calvin Kattar and Aljamain. I want to see how Aljamain does at featherweight. That's a big fight, but the champion stepping up, one of the greatest fighters in bantamweight ever, stepping up, And yeah, y'all, we don't know the main event yet, so we got to see what they say. The main event has to be massive, absolutely massive, with all of this under it. If it's massive, just knowing we have that main event at the end of the night while watching all these fights, it's just gonna make it such a legendary. Now, I want to be able to say without looking like an ultra fan or without any hyperbole that this is the greatest pay-per-view of all time. That's what I want to be able to say. Just off the name value, you have to be seated at 6 from the very first fight of the night. That's what I want, So we'll see what they decide to do, y'all, with these next 5 fights. These next 5 fights have to be crazy. Dana's probably going to drop them once a week at this point, for real.
We're supposed to get something this week, so we'll see.
We'll see. You could drop it tonight. You never know. I hope so. Fingers crossed. And yeah, y'all. Yeah, that too, because he probably do that to promote the fight, the fight night and stuff. That not many people are gonna be able to watch like that, or gonna watch. So
we're gonna get some news, but hopefully
some news. Absolutely. And yeah, y'all. That's it for me, Nikki. Unless you got something else you wanted to add about 300, or
that's it for me. We will be live next week with our UFC Fight Night preview. Thank you everyone for coming out, spending an hour and a half with us. If you did, if you watch it later, also appreciate there. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Follow us on Twitter, and please engage with us. We'll talk about anything. That's it for me, man.
Of course, yeah. And yeah, guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Of course, reach out to us on social media to do some business. I'm a journalist as well. If you guys want to read my articles, I got them in my Twitter, in my X profile. Still got to get used to that. And like I said, reach out to Nikki for business as well. We're always trying to meet people around the internet, connect and just make, meet some chill people. Like us, we're chill people, and we'll always be nice to you guys. You gotta be nice to us, and that's it, But thank y'all so much for joining us, and y'all have a nice night, nice day, nice afternoon, and God bless you guys.